belugas, you might see that melon move around quite a bit. There's a lot of muscles around that melon, and they can use that to change the shape and direction of the sound they produce from their blowhole. So it does move around side to side, squish flat, get up really tall. So look for all those funny melon shapes with all of our different belugas. Some excellent demonstration of belugas' vocalization ability. Belugas are known for their ability to vocalize and have the widest range of vocalizations of any marine mammal. Now, as you're looking at all of our many different unique individuals today, you'll probably also notice a lot of shades of gray and white. So when a beluga calf is born, they're pretty small by beluga standards. It's around 5 feet long and 120 pounds at birth. But they're also a very dark gray color during that time. As they age, they do lighten to a brighter white color, but that's going to be a different shade of white for each individual adult. Now, they won't really become that final color until they reach a maturity between 7 and 9 years of age. As you look around at all of our whales and trainers today, you'll notice them asking for several different behaviors that allow us to check their bodies, making sure that everyone is nice and healthy, and also allowing us to touch in lots of different places. This can help us practice for a lot of those medical procedures and make sure that everyone stays very healthy. So we've got some really nice lineups down there in the front where we can see their underside or their ventral side as well as their back and that dorsal ridge. This really helps to get a good look at everyone, and we even are participating in some research studies where we need to measure our whales, and we need them to be nice and still in that lineup so we can get a good idea of how long they are. So it's also very helpful. And if you notice over here, we have a few of our trainers asking the belugas to present their flukes. Now this behavior involves the animals being upside down or ventral, and the trainers holding on to those tail flukes. This is an extremely important behavior for us and for our veterinary staff. So actually you're able to do our blood draws and check the animal's health by getting that blood from their tail flukes. That's where those veins are closest to the surface. You may even notice kind of a spidery network or tree branches of those veins. Sometimes you can even see them from pretty far away, depending on the individual. So they'll be nice and calm in this up-down, upside-down behavior, allowing us to touch their flukes and allowing our veterinary staff to come over and get a blood sample. If it seems like they've been upside down for a long time, don't worry. Belugas can hold their breath for over 10 minutes. But this enables our veterinary staff to get a really great idea about how healthy everyone is. So it's a behavior that we practice quite a bit. Usually we do pretty routine blood checks on everyone, so we have a nice baseline to look at and make sure everyone is in tip-top shape, no matter their age. There are a lot of other husbandry behaviors that we can ask our animals for that once again help our vet staff get a really good picture of each animal's individual health. One of them is what we call a chuff, or an exhale, where they expel air out of their blowhole, and we can actually ask them to do that onto a petri dish. And then our veterinary staff and our lab are able to look at that and make sure that each animal's lungs are nice and healthy. You might be able to hear some of those deep breaths kind of exhaling out. We do have not only a great veterinary team here at SeaWorld San Antonio, we have a wonderful lab as well. And many of these samples that our animals are able to provide for us and give us are processed immediately. So they can go right down to the lab, and we're actually able to hear back really quickly about each animal's individual health and make sure that we are on top of everybody's health. You'll see all of our trainers using a variety of ways to reinforce these animals as well, or tell them that they're doing exactly what we're asking them to do. Each individual animal is going to have their own individual preferences. Just like I'm sure all of you have different favorite things, our animals are no different and enjoy a variety of things themselves. You might see some trainers giving out fish and telling animals that that's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. You also might see some toys, or what we call environmental stadium to give scientists a baseline for using drones out in the Arctic. So they can have drone footage from beluga pods from above, and they can compare those to the pictures that we provide and the measurements we provide. So they can actually measure beluga whales by just taking a picture of them from above. It's a very minimally invasive way for them to get a lot of really important information about the health of the belugas that they're looking at in different places around the Arctic. Another study that we participated in is a vocal development study. I did mention that belugas are the canaries of the sea. They make those wide range of vocalizations, but what you hear at the surface is a fraction of all of the sounds that they make in the water. There's a lot of vocal communication going on in the water, so we're able to put that hydrophone in an underwater microphone and listen to our beluga whales, send off those recordings to scientists, and they were actually able to determine that belugas have a vocal development pattern, kind of like a speech development pattern, much like you would hear children that are young kind of talk in a specific way as they learn to form the sentence structure, as they build their vocabulary. Belugas show a similar development in their vocalizations. So this enables scientists in the Arctic to simply by hearing the whale be able to age range those particular individuals. So that's invaluable tools helping our counterparts study belugas out in their natural environment. As you're seeing the sessions continue here, you might notice we have quite a variety of things going on. Another really important session to the care of our animals is what we call an exercise session, making sure that everyone is moving and doing things and keeping a nice, active, healthy lifestyle. Just like it's important for people, it's important for our animals as well. And a lot of our animals do find all of that movement to be very reinforcing. Now, belugas are not known for their athletic behavior, but they are incredible swimmers, especially compared to you and I. And are still able to get a large portion, if not all of their body out of the water. Now, the height a beluga might be able to reach on a particular jump is going to depend on the individual and on their age. We do have a number of younger individuals that are still a little bit smaller that can get their entire body out of the water, whereas our mature male who's over 2,000 pounds doesn't quite get that high